Hey y'all, it's Kate Stillman with the Intermittent Fasting Challenge. So we go live tomorrow. If you don't have your tickets, yogahealer.com/IF challenge. So we have a bunch of FAQs, and I thought I'd do a quick live and go through some of the FAQs in case you're on the fence and you're wondering, is this something I should do or not? So the reason I got into intermittent fasting, and I first wrote an ebook on it back in 2017, in intermittent fasting for your body type, explaining like Ayurveda and intermittent fasting and why does the gut need a break, essentially. And I've done a ton more research in the last year on intermittent fasting for my new book that's coming out, which the title's changed. It's now called Uninflamed, and it'll be out in a couple weeks. Super exciting. So it comes down to this, like most symptoms that most people have right now are due to chronic low-grade inflammation, and it's diet and lifestyle driven. It goes to everything from what people were eating 100 years ago to what is now considered food, to how much nutrition was available 10,000 years ago. Like, what's the whole evolutionary perspective of the adversity habits, or the habits that humans evolved with, or you could say it another way, like the habits that forced humans to evolve, and one of them is fasting times. And so when you disrupt fasting rhythm from an evolutionary perspective, meaning not just what humans have been doing the last 100 years, but really what have humans been doing the last 100,000 years, to what the mammalian hominids were doing before then, to primates before then. So you go back at least 500,000 years, you take a deep time perspective, and it basically ends up like this, that intermittent fasting drove brain development. So what actually makes us human in part has a lot to do with fasting. So when we don't fast, what we know happens is we develop inflammation and the diseases of chronic inflammation. And this can show up in the body, it can show up in the mind, it can show up in your soul, it shows up everywhere. And most people right now are medicated that are on medications for diseases of chronic inflammation. So why intermittent fasting is because it works for everything, and I'm into really broad-based solutions that work for all body types and all people and all cultures around the planet all at once. So the intermittent fasting challenge, I know many people have been doing fasting on and off, and if you want to go into a deeper fasting rhythm to experience autophagy, so autophagy is what happens when you intermittent fast. What does that mean? It means phagy is to eat. It means the cells start to eat the stuff that's in the cells that's basically junking up the system. That might be folded mitochondria. It could be excess acidity. It could be it could be cytokines. It could be adipokines. It could be all sorts of stuff that the body's just like, this isn't good. It's creating more distress signaling, and it gets to actually digest and upcycle the chemical components. So that's what autophagy is. It happens as you lengthen your fasting times. In this 21-day challenge, and there's a method to our madness and really everything we do. You're a yoga healer. The method to the madness is you can, a month is a long time, 3 weeks is doable. It'll take people a few days to ease in. And then within this 3-week period, we're offering a 5-day fast mimicking diet experience and support around that. So what is that? Fast mimicking diet is where you reduce your calories to about 500 a day for women, 750 a day for men. So it's basically and the way that it's explained in science is it's massive calorie restriction. And what this does is it keeps your body in more or less a constant, steady state of autophagy and apoptosis. So apoptosis is the other fancy word that goes with intermittent fasting. And it basically means that it's cellular suicide. So the cells that are dysfunctional or going to mutate or already mutated, they die. They die off. And fast mimicking diet it's just a great reset button. I mean, I know I love it because you only have to do it a couple times a year. When you do it, it shrinks your fat tissue. Fat cells that get shrunken, they actually release anti-inflammatory markers. So they de-inflame, they uninflame your physiology. Why not do that? Sounds good to me. Your skin gets clear, you have more energy, you are able to feel more satiated with less. And this is just some of the benefits. I always tell people, if you do the intermittent fasting challenge, you'll save more in your food bill than you will paying for the challenge. So it works out it works out either way. And for those who don't need to lose weight, you still need to lean out your fat tissue, and you still need to pulsate in a rhythm of autophagy if you want to avoid things like joint pain, if you want to avoid diseases down the lane. So it's it really is for everybody. It wasn't like certain body types were intermittent fasting as part of human evolution. Everyone was. Everyone was doing it by necessity, right? So some of the habits now that we find really work, actually most of the habits that really work for humans all over time, they're the positive stressor habits. They're the habits, I call them the adversity habits, the primal habits. They're primal because they're prime. Like you can't actually, if you don't have them, you're missing out, right? And you'll age your physiology a lot faster than your physiology is designed. Okay, so that's my FAQ to what is intermittent fasting and why to do it. If you want to focus, if you want to get smarter, those are all really good reasons. So a lot of people are doing it now for brain health, for memory. I use it for focus times. So for me, in the next 3 weeks, I'll guide everyone through like what's the fasting rhythm right for you, and we'll look at that week by week by week so that you start to realize how flexible it is and you develop metabolic flexibility. That's one of the other FAQs is what is metabolic flexibility. It's your body's ability to shift from storing fat from using fat. And as you flip fat into your bloodstream, you get those anti-inflammatory. So you actually have less inflammation, less inflammatory load, less allostatic load, less oxidative stress, all the things that age the human physiology. You have less of that over time. But it also means that your body can shift into digesting what's in your blood sugar. So if you have days where you're not intermittent fasting, it's fine. Like you'll be able to digest better anyways. And that to me is really the exciting part. It's not something that you have to always do. In fact, who was it? Oscar Wilde, who said, everything in moderation, including moderation. Like same thing's true with intermittent fasting and metabolic flexibility. So in this 3 weeks, for some of you who are already doing it, it's going to be like turn up the dial on autophagy, turn up the dial on anti-aging. Those of you who need to process trauma, it's like you'll turn up the dial on your body's ability to process the trauma, and that to me is super exciting. And then for those who have never done it before, it's like introduction to intermittent fasting and how good can you feel in 3 weeks. Okay, so that's metabolic flexibility. Next FAQ is intermittent fasting bad for women? No, it's not bad for women. It's great for women. All women used to do intermittent fasting. We didn't have issues. It's so important to understand most autoimmune issues are hitting women, not men. Autoimmune issues, those are when your immune system's attacking yourself. So again, it's a chronic inflammation goes to a severe point where the body doesn't recognize its own tissue. So women's issues in general have a lot to do with the level of inflammation that their physiology is carrying. So what we tend to see, those of us who study chronic inflammation, is you actually start to see how everyone's a lot more the same than how they're all different to their specific diagnoses. In that as you lift the allostatic load, as you reduce the oxidative stress, which you're doing through autophagy, through intermittent fasting, that everything starts to get better. I know, it's kind of like the miracle pill, but it's not a pill. It's something you don't do. It's not something you actually do. You just stop eating as frequently. That seems to solve most people's problems. Now, intermittent fasting for women, we'll get a little deeper into that in the challenge. It is really important to eat more the week before you get your period, and that's like really the long and the short of it. So you don't do intermittent fasting the week before you get your period. You actually eat more. You enjoy those cravings, and you nourish yourself well. All right, is intermittent fasting bad for kids and teens? No, it's not. This is to me is like one of the most exciting things, especially those of you who have kids that are picky eaters. You've got kids that have allergies, atopic dermatitis, or asthma. Those are the three biggest massive warning flares that your child is developing lifelong chronic inflammation is if they have asthma, allergies, or atopic dermatitis. And so it's really great to get kids on a fasting rhythm. Their fasting rhythm's a lot shorter than for adults. And so we'll talk about that as well in the course. It's not rocket science. It's just getting physiology deeper into fasting metabolism. Okay, the other FAQ, is it bad for people with autoimmune disease? We just talked about that. No, it's not. It's great. It's amazing. You actually can reverse insulin resistance. You can reverse ghrelin resistance. You can destagnate your adipose tissue so that it stops releasing the pro-inflammatory markers. Because what happens when you don't intermittent fast is that your fat tissue it's an endocrine organ. A lot of people don't know this. Your adipose tissue is an endocrine organ. What is an endocrine organ? It means it's controlling your hormones. So if you are carrying inflammation, your fat tissue is releasing pro-inflammatory markers, meaning you're actually self-generating inflammation from your cells. It's such a bummer. It's so bad. We're not meant to eat all the freaking time. All right, so in the intermittent fasting challenge, you will play with your metabolic flexibility. You're going to play with your fasting times for your body type, and you're going to, for those of you who really want to go for it, are going to do a 5-day fast mimicking diet. It's my goal to get basically almost everybody doing this for life so that you know how to do it, so it's part of your natural body rhythm, and it just gets easier, honestly. It gets easier to do. Like everything gets easier to do with practice, including intermittent fasting, including fast mimicking diet. Okay, next FAQ about the challenge. Are people going to be choosing their fasting times? Is it better to fast in the morning or at night? It's to a huge degree, it's like whatever gets you doing it. But if someone's really stagnant and has stubborn belly fat, stubborn weight, someone's been heavy for a long time, I'd much rather that they fasted in the evening. It's going to give them a huge leg up. And often for those people to eat the majority of calories in the middle of the day is going to make a big difference. Now, some people can't do that. And so at that point, it's like, do whatever's going to work to increase those fasting hours. And that'll make a huge, huge difference. All right, so is everyone going to do this a little differently? Yes, this is not a one-size-fits-all approach. We want you to get to know your body type and how to fast for your body type. Okay, and lastly, there's a question on family. How do you feed a family who doesn't want to intermittent fast when you do? I find time and again it's like you choose, being in a community of people that are doing this makes a huge difference because questions are going to come up along the way. You'll learn things from the other people in the group, and this we find is so important. I know for me personally, and many of you have heard me say this in the past, like the group momentum will pull you way deeper, way easier into the experience and into the process. And that, man, it just makes all the difference. And so for those of you at home who no one else is into this at home, being in the group really matters because you'll go deeper. And what we find over time, because we've led courses on this forever, or so it seems, is the families eventually come along. So my daughter now, she knows her fasting rhythm, she knows her fasting times, she knows why she's doing it, and what she expects to feel as a result of that. It's so empowering for kids and teens to have control over their health. It's so important for kids to know that they control how their body feels, that it's not random, that their habits make all the difference in the world. Again, chronic disease and chronic inflammation are a new phenomenon. They started about in the early 1900s, and partly due to sugar consumption. The other part's due to vegetable oil. Skyrocketed in the last 20, 30 years, mostly due to Monsanto and glyphosates in our crops that are creating gut permeability. So a lot of this stuff, you can clear up so many issues with this one habit, which is why we do the challenge. Okay, if you want to join, yogahealer.com/IF-challenge, and IF is for intermittent fasting. I'll see you on the inside.